Welcome to Inviting Oneness, a podcast where we explore true personal stories from friends and members of EquaSion. Stories where the illusion of separateness gave way to the deeper truth of our shared humanity. Across traditions, we find resonant affirmations of oneness. In Judaism, the Shema is a daily reminder that divine oneness calls us to see beyond division. The Bahá'í Faith speaks of humanity as the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. In Islam, the concept of Tawhid, the oneness of God, extends to the unity of creation, reminding us that we were created to know one another. These voices remind us, oneness isn't an idea, it's an experience. And today, we continue listening for it, one story at a time. This week's storyteller is Aruni Marapane. Aruni is an honorary chair of the 2025 Festival of Faiths and is a Buddhist hospice chaplain.
One of my first hospice patients, about 20 years ago, she was about 87. She was beautiful. She had lung cancer, 4th stage, and she refused to have any medication, and she wanted to go without much of a suffering. So the family decided not to give her medication. She had about 3 months to live. She was in a nursing home. So I went there. I was nervous because I didn't have much experience. She was in a very small room. There was another patient and not much room even to keep a chair. So I passed the first patient who was close to the door, and I approached my patient on the other side of the room, and she smiled at me. I still remember there was a picture of a flower bouquet hanging alongside of the bed, and there was a side table, and there were some family pictures, and I sat down and I introduced myself, and I would say, "Hi, I'm a chaplain and I came to see you." And she smiled at me. She was a beautiful lady. She said hello. And the very first question I remember, I asked her, "So how are you doing?" She smiled at me and very calmly she said, "I'm doing fine. I am glad I have the window." And I didn't understand her reply. And she told me again, "Honey, I am so glad I have the window." Then she said, "That's the only thing left for me to connect with the world now." And for me, it was such a spiritual awakening, such an enlightening experience. I was shocked. And then I spoke to her. We had a good time. But her reply about the window, it was a small window. And there was a bird feeder hanging outside of the window. I still remember. And there was plenty of birds were chirping and eating from the bird feeder. The window was open to a courtyard of the nursing home. And I still remember there were some flower beds, and there were impatiens and marigolds, yellow daisies, beautiful flower beds around the courtyard. No wonder that woman felt how connected she is to the world, because there was life. There was life happening outside through that window. And she was just enjoying so much, watching what's happening out there. And I came home and I started thinking about it. Then I have realized the life has reduced to a one window to her. And now she has the only window to the outside world. And I was thinking, when we are okay, healthy, and running about, we have so many things in our life because we have family, our education, all the material comforts or accumulations, the society, the social network. Finally, the life will take you, especially when you are elderly and dying and old, the life will reduce everything so rapidly, and eventually you have pretty much nothing. And this lady was so grateful for just the window so she could see outside. That was such an amazing experience. How life gives us opportunities to expand and then slowly contracting, eventually it reduced to nothing when we are ready to leave. And it made me so humble and So I continued last 20 years to see my hospice patients, mostly elderly. Right now I'm sitting with actively dying patients. And I see this truth every time I see a patient, how life gives us opportunities. And I would call it an expansion, accumulation, and the life itself, again, contracting, reducing what it has given to us when we are getting ready to leave. I'm a practicing Buddhist. In the sense of Buddha's teachings, oneness is, the creation is ongoing, and we are all, the whole existence is arising out of one source and passing away back to where it came from. And it's a cycle, coming and going, arising and passing away, such a beautiful, profound way. The trees and the bees and the planets and the galaxies, it's all expanding and contracting in such a rhythmic way, such a beautiful, sacred way. It's coming from one place and going back to where it was. For me, it's like a flower. We are all part of that blooming flower. We are blooming together and we are going back to where we come from. So before the flower bloom, there's potentiality, infinite potentiality. And then nobody knew what this flower is going to be, how it's going to smell, what color it's going to be, what size it's going to be. And slowly, because of causes and conditions, this beautiful flower to bloom. And then it's time bound. And when the time is over, when its time is done, it's going to go, it's going to disappear. The impermanence in Buddhist teachings plays a big role. After our time is done, we've been absorbed back to that infinite potential. It's a cycle. It's such an amazing spiritual understanding, wisdom, and insight. And I see such universality or oneness in these experiences.
Thanks for joining us on Inviting Oneness, where we share real stories of connection that dissolve the illusion of separation and reveal our common humanity. If today's story moved you, we invite you to keep the conversation going in person at this year's Festival of Faiths on June 22nd, a day of dialogue, music, and community rooted in compassion and unity. To learn more about the festival, our work at EquaSion, or to share your own story of oneness, visit us at EquaSion.org. Until next time, may we keep inviting oneness within ourselves and with one another.